Hey, hello, welcome back. Lee Howard here. This is Lee Howard's Health and Wellness Podcast. This is Podcast 5, Season 1, My Career. Yes, I'm going to take a deep dive with you into my career, all the jobs I've had, the many strands, the many layers and levels of my career life. Why? Because I want to give you a better 360 view of who I am. You may not know, maybe you've only seen my music or my fitness videos. I want to coalesce, assimilate, and also move forward. I have this great opportunity to go through my whole job life, unwind it like a big poem, and see what it all meant, see what skills I learned, what I learned in general about all of it. And where I am now, I have this great ability to unwind it. You know, I've never been able to do that except with like some 8-page CV on LinkedIn. So this is my opportunity for you to get to know me better. And thank you for being here, darling. Let's check in with Lee. He's out hiking at 8,700 feet. All right. Here I am walking again, right? Who would have thought? I was going to do my podcast at home, which I may still do. But I thought, well, let's come up here and talk to you from here. Welcome to Lee Howard's Health and Wellness, Podcast 5, Season 1, My Career. Oh my gosh, as I started unwinding my career, I was like, this could make a beautiful Netflix series. It was so full of activity and so full of blood and sweat and tears and amazing high joys and the music and the trades I learned and the classes I taught and on and on. And I thought, well, you, my listener, probably don't even know who I am, really. You might have discovered me on TikTok or some other platform, which is beautiful. I want to connect with people, after all. And I thought, well, maybe now that I've given you 4 other podcasts about how I see the world, how I view things, of course, I'm not going to cover it all in these podcasts. But I want you to come back. I want you to know I'm a friendly neighbor. I'm coming over in the morning to share some coffee and talk about some ideas that were on my mind. On my mind is I want you to get to know me better. And all the jobs I've had and all the careers I've had. And I want to unwind it. I'm finding with this podcast things I took for granted. Never explained to anybody. Just kept moving through life like Forrest Gump. But now with this podcast and the place and station I am in my life right now, I get to unwind it. What was it about? It feels like one long poem. If you ask me, it feels like a series of songs and melodies and compositions more than a career. But I want to unwind it, the actual jobs and where I worked and the trades I took on, etc. It's a lot. I want you to see that I have a great amount of wisdom that I've gleaned and assimilated from the world of work and the world of love and the world of music and the world of ambition. And I want to share that with you. It's fun. It was a fun, adventurous life. I would have to say I got off the status quo really early on. I was raised almost like an army brat, moving around a lot. So yeah, I moved around a lot early on in my life, and that gave me the ability to see a different world. I wasn't stuck in one suburban village for my whole life. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying I wasn't part of that. I lived in certain suburban communities. I went to regular high schools. I mean, I wasn't a rogue being raised by wolves. You know, I was out there learning how to be whatever we were supposed to be learning to be, like an American, a good character, nice person, get along, get educated, meet a nice girl, get the house, pay off your bills, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I had a taste of that. And then at one point I said, well, that is super unreliable. This world is changing so fast. I sent out so many resumes. I was trying to get the steady state or corporate job where I'd last for 30 years and get the gold watch at the end and a boot out the door. It forced me to create my own reality, my own world, my own alternate reality. I did get educated, and in so doing, I fortified myself with an arsenal of information. I got my education in the humanities and the classics and policy setting and management. I got ready for it all. I didn't know where I would end up. I just figured, well, I'll get my mind ready to take on anything. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. In so doing, I created a quantum human out of myself, 4 or 5 different careers, each with their own resume, their own website, their own 10,000 hours of professional hours put in, probably close to 1 million hours. So I'm trying to give you a bracketed version of who I am. If you were to pick up a Reader's Digest, well, who is that guy? Well, here we go. Where should we start? Let's start at the beginning. Thank God my mom always made sure I was going to have a job. I would learn to have a job. I would learn how to keep a job. I would learn how to make a living, what it meant to have a living. Yeah, my mom I credit with that from early on. Let's go back to the very beginning, my first high school job, working at Kentucky Fried Chicken. I was the little cook back there blasting out the chicken. Yeah, I worked for about a year, made my own money, rode my bike to work. We lived like in a 5-mile radius, so it wasn't hard to get there. Lasted about a year and a half. Tell me a lot about corporate culture, consistency across the nation with one brand. I'm working as a bike messenger in Beverly Hills. I got a real taste of the Uber elite there, driving around in the Rolls Royces. I was a bike messenger. I would take demos across town, or I would, bring envelopes or things that needed to be signed, contracts, etc. I mean, the really super serious stuff, obviously, I wasn't handling, but there was enough day to day, and I would ride my bike all over. It was fantastic. I really got to know LA inside and out from the street eye view. And then at one point they gave me a car, and then I was driving all the way out to Santa Monica, and I was driving down to San Diego delivering stuff. So yeah, I evolved with it. It got me through high school. Okay. Podcast 5, Season 1, Lee Howard's Health and Wellness. I'm hiking today at 8,700 feet. Of course, right? What else is new? So what? I'm staying in shape. I'll get into all the exercise I do at a later podcast. I'm talking about my career today. We're picking it up at college. Actually, let me roll back a little bit. All throughout high school, I was getting ready to be a professional musician. I was learning to read music. I was hanging out in the music room. I didn't really have much of a social life. I was always playing music, jamming with others, learning how to play jazz, learning how to play rock, learning songs, learning how to play blues, starting at the beginning. Yeah, I did that right up through 18, and then my brother was living in Minnesota. He said, why don't you come out and play bass in my band? And away I went. For 2 years we toured from age 18 to about 20, 21. There was another short period after that, but basically a 2 to 3 year period. Yeah, toured all over Canada and the Northwest. And at one point I was faced with the challenge. My mom wanted me to go back to college, get a degree, work my mind. And I gave the life on the road a little chance, and I didn't really like it. I loved being on stage. I loved playing music, but the road It's a necessary evil. I chose to go back to school and thought, well, maybe I should learn a trade just in case music doesn't fully work out. So I learned how to do radio. I became a great radio announcer. I always loved radio. Are you kidding? I loved listening to radio. I loved the knowledge I learned from radio. I loved how anonymous the voice was. And with the right cadence and the right warmth in their voice and the right attitude, they wanted to connect with you and be your friend. Those were the best DJs, and I became one of them for years. Right, all the way through college. It got me through college. It was hard. I had the 12 to 6 shift. They gave it to the rookie, but that's fine. I got to program my own music. I had a huge following. And I went to school during the day, and I was beat up. It was a lot. I was beat up. Oh, and then I was playing in the hottest band in town. I mean, I was so spread thin. So fun being in college and playing music and having girlfriends and lovers and working out. And I was never striving for mediocrity. All of it was about making it better. I learned Jaco Pastorius and jazz and Herbie Hancock and Return to Forever and Duke Ellington. All the greats were in my playing by the time I arrived at college. So yeah, once we found the right set of players, we took off. I'm going to play one of their songs right now. So yeah, college was a blast. I made use of all the tools. I learned recording arts. I learned how to mix bands. I learned how to record pianos and bands and become an engineer, like I still am today. I learned how to become a producer very early on. So I had these simultaneous career strands all working at once. And I worked in a country band for 2 years. They found me working at Burger King, and she said, why don't you join my band? And the band just took off. I had to quit my Burger King job, and we were playing country western music. I loved it. I don't know why I stopped country western. So after I got back, I jammed with these guys in Critical Town. We had this great jam, the Magic, It was all great. We got an agent. We worked our butts off. Sacramento County corridor. You know, we were working 4 or 5 nights a week. 4 and 5 sets a night. And driving back, trying to get back for class. Are you kidding? It was insane. But our band was so good. It was like a boot camp. I think we must have learned 40 or 50 songs. And they were hard songs. These were not easy pieces. We were learning really hip, modern, fresh, of its time kind of music. I don't know where I got all the brain power, all this physical energy it took, and the putting up with people and all the energy that took. And it was a lot. The arc of college, it was like a 4-year period, 4 or 5 year period. There was so much going on. Oh, and I was a dancer. I was learning how to become a professional dancer and an actor. I thought maybe eventually I can assimilate all these skills, acting and dancing and talking, all into one beautiful human being. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Yes, I dance, I laugh, I sing, I jump up and down, I work out, I do podcasts, I write music, I put out albums, I do music videos. It's been fantastic. All right, here I am in the forest, getting my day started the next day. Lee Howard here with you. Lee Howard's Health and Wellness, Podcast 5, Season 1, My Career. God, college was a blast. I oozed every part of it out of that experience. I was going to go to Juilliard, but I didn't get accepted. I just did everything. I was in dance, I did radio station. A lot of great DJs came out of that era and went on to greater fame. And I got a great gig at a rock radio station, and I did that for years, mostly programming my own shows. I had my own Sunday night 2-hour show where I interviewed and helped prosper the local music scene. I was quite a celebrity. I was just nose to the grindstone. Let's get it done. You know, let's learn these trades. That was my goal. And I got really good at radio. So it's wonderful to have this medium back. I was doing radio theater. I was doing interviews. It was kind of like an early XM radio, what I was doing. I was really curating music. So between that and going to school and playing in this band, it was just an explosion of wonderfulness and hard-edged music. Period. Okay. Continuing on with my career, I met a girl. We met each other. I had her, or should I say she had me. Anyway, we moved to Europe, and she said she couldn't get pregnant, but she did. And then she offered me up the choice to, I want to have an abortion or should we have the child? And we were in Scandinavia at the time, and it was not even a blink of an eye. Everybody is given the right to have an abortion if they want. No biggie. And so she said, well, it's up to you. And I was like, oh my God. I was so unprepared for this question, this to have happened. And so I walked around town for days, thinking, sitting, watching, listening, wondering. What should I do? And then it came to me. Let's have the child. This is a message from God. It's our one chance. God is watching. Let's do it. We'll be a great family. We'll be a fun family, the three of us. Simultaneously, I was doing a theatrical piece in San Francisco that blew up and lasted like 2 years. So I was having to commute and work hard and live in some basement somewhere just to, with a bed and pay the guy, a couple $100 a month just to live up there because it took so much time to put this play on. But that gave me another lesson. It was like art boot camp, spiritual warrior boot camp. It was hard. It was really hard. But I saw great value in it. I was, after all, a theatrician, an actor, and I figured, well, this is another way to learn how to be on stage. I was the sound designer, and it was like a game show. It was an early game show where we would find obnoxious characters to take the stage and rant and rave and berate the audience. And then the audience threw tomatoes back at the performers. The spectators would buy the tomatoes for $1 each. And of course, the most obnoxious performer got the most tomatoes thrown at them. And then they would win and walk away with a bunch of money. It was huge. But then people started bringing hard fastball tomatoes, green, hard frozen tomatoes. It was really getting brutal. We pulled the plug. It'll be fun. We'll be a fun family. It's going to be fun. No, fun wasn't always the measure. In fact, the whole other chapter about that took place and unfolded, I'm going to leave that alone for its own story. That's a Netflix series unto itself. I'm just giving you the high points of my career, okay? The reason I mentioned the child now entering it because suddenly wasn't expecting that with no job, no career, no nothing, and what to do, and I'm not going to get an abortion, and she's not going to get an abortion, and we're going to have this child, and so we did. It buckled me down. I wasn't just sitting on my hands. I was like, I got to get out there and make things happen. And I got a resume together. I went out and bought a nice suit. I thought, well, I've got a degree now. Of course they're going to hire me. But it never happened. Never happened. And these are the lessons of disappointment. Perhaps it was best that I didn't do that now as I look back. So I learned trades. My brother had taught me how to paint when I was 17 as a professional, painting houses in San Francisco and apartments. So yeah, I learned how to paint, so I relied on my trade skills. I had a child and actually it was really nice, steady, hard, hot work, but he was great. And I thank him still. He got me through a really rough period. Scott Shaw lives in Nashville now. Gentleman. And we played in a band together. We moved to a farm in Mendocino and grew organic vegetables on a farm that was using Rudolf Steiner's biodynamic techniques on how to garden. So we did that like a summer with the baby, and she learned how to poop in the garden. That was where she learned how to potty train. We bought her a little plastic toilet and she used to poop in there, but it's basically out in the open for the 2 months, 3 months that she needed to be potty trained. It was out in the garden. So great. She used to feed Jack the goat. Actually, she fed all the animals now, come to think of it. Very early on, as an only child, our daughter was taught empathy, how to care for others. She learned how to care through caring for animals. We had a horse named Rosie, a goat named Jack. We had some chickens that she loved. And forever animal mother. She is like the best mother for animals. She treats them with such respect and care. All right, here I am in the forest, getting my day started the next day. Lee Howard here with you. Lee Howard's Health and Wellness, Podcast 5, Season 1, My Career. Oh my God, college was a blast. I oozed every part of it out of that experience. I was going to go to Juilliard, but I didn't get accepted. So I made where I went. I just did everything. I was in dance, I did radio, I did morning jazz. I worked for KCHO, which was a public radio station Yeah, it was fantastic. And then I got onto the punk rock radio station. A lot of great DJs came out of that era and went on to greater fame. And I got a great gig at a rock radio station. And I did that for years, mostly programming my own shows. I had my own Sunday night 2-hour show where I interviewed and helped prosper the local music scene. I was quite a celebrity. And I learned very early on what fame looked like. And so, of course, I didn't really know how to deal with it. And got disgusted, graduated, and moved to Europe. But welcome back, Lee Howard's Health and Wellness, Podcast 5. I'm talking about my career, unwinding it for you in a sort of way. I don't want to go on and on, like a novel. I suppose I could write a novel or have a Netflix series of my life, but I'm trying to give you a Reader's Digest condensed version. So I left off at college. I'm now a journeyman musician. It's one of my trades. I also got some experience in the fast food industry, so I have that as a trade and a skill. But now I'm in college. Then I left college with a degree in communications. It has served me very well. Oh my God, I learned so much during those 4 years. So I moved on into the corporate world. I moved into public education. I moved into corporate training. I was a trainer for a while, teaching people how to be on the phone, how to, field calls, etc. So yeah, I did that for quite a few years. Raised a daughter and refurbished a house and just had a really, I don't know, it was hard. That period was very hard. Rebuilding the house and establishing a career in the Sonoma and Napa wine region as a chef and a food writer, and also as a musician. I used to play in the caves of the Napa and Sonoma valleys, playing a Latin guitar music. But again, I'll get back to the music later. It's kind of its own separate conversation. See, I moved into the corporate world, kept the music alive, did a lot of shows, built a beautiful band, wrote some gorgeous music, recorded it, played all over the place. I mean, I was so busy as a musician. And a father, picking her up from school, taking her to the dance classes, got her into dance, got that discipline early on inside her, because it had to, she had to show up. You can't be in these dance productions for 4, 5, 6 years and not be there for everybody. They'd kick you out. So she learned a lot of great teamwork. Period. So I ran with that for a while, and then I finally just got a job. I was sick of commuting. It seemed like I had commuted my whole life, and I was just tired of giving my life away to the commute. So I got a job within walking distance. I took a massive cut in pay, but I got good health benefits. I got, a team to work with. It was fun. I really enjoyed the work. So it worked out really well, actually. I didn't make a shitload of money, but it helped me carve out the rest of my daughter's high school and getting her through that period. But all the whole time I was making music. In fact, in 2003, I put all of my music online and just said, I'm going to be an online musical person. Derek Sivers of CD Baby got me inspired. And I put all my music on CD Baby. It's still there. But that got me inspired to put out music more often. And I got more into digital audio workstations, became pretty good at Logic and Reason and Ableton and Final Cut and Premiere and Photoshop and now Adobe Rush. I got really good at all of this media world. So I started getting media gigs, social media, digital media, project management. Started my own company called Lee Howard Global. It's been around for 26 years. Just started a new company called Lee Howard's Health and Wellness. You can find me at leehowardshealthandwellness.com. But it's brand new. Forgive me, I don't have it completely built out yet, but it is live. Now it's common practice to have 4 or 5 different resumes because people have different types of skill sets. Back then, it was very unique. It was kind of at the cutting edge, having 4 different resumes. And I worked very hard at all 4 careers. So I was able to get work as a chef. I was able to get work as a musician. I worked a lot in both trades. I was able to edit people's work from home. So yeah, I did a lot of video work. I did a lot of sound design. I kept putting out albums. I played all over the Bay Area. Oh my God, all 9 counties. I worked so much in the Bay Area. It was fun. It was what I had worked for, and the music was fantastic. The Spanish, Latin guitar, kind of like Jesse Cook or Strunz and Farah, or that Latin Spanish guitar work that you'll find on my Spotify, by the way. A whole channel devoted to that kind of guitar work. I love it. So all of my skills working with the flamenco master that I did for 10, 15 years paid off in many, many different ways. It made me a better musician. I worked with a maestro. How many people get to say that? I traveled, 2 hours a day or a couple days a week or once, twice a month, whatever it was, to study with him. Bought another house, transferred to another state, got a raise, kept going, did really well. Built this beautiful new home. For a good long clip of time, I was working with the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Technicians. We were setting up big conferences in San Francisco, and of course all the video screens and the audio. So I learned to do all that. And I got paid really well and learned a lot about behind the scenes staging of these big shows. I did people like Elton John, Foo Fighters, Metallica. One tour, we did a big kickoff private party for them. So yeah, it was a fun job. I learned a lot of skills. Put that under the trades column. Hit a recession, again, another recession. So I repivoted again. Based on my old skills, I got a job as a chef in San Francisco at a Whole Foods. Rewrote their whole menu in their prepared foods area. Kicked ass there. And it was a battle kitchen, but I had the skills. I was able to drop right in and make great money. I had to commute, taking the bus, taking the train, taking the ferry, taking my bike on the boat so I could ride my bike. So yeah, I had my knives, I had my computer, and I had my bass. Wow, she had a cute ass. Okay, here I am walking. Yes. I just worked out all day and I'm full of thoughts. I want to wrap this up, So the music kept going. I kept doing shows. I kept writing new music, kept putting out albums. Had to move away from the band I had started in the Bay Area. My mom needed me. She was suffering from some dementia and she needed some help. So I had to give it all up and come back and help her restructure herself. The story turned out really well. But in the meantime, I got into some marketing and became an assets manager here and earned really good money all over the metro. But through the whole time, I was doing music, playing music, writing music, doing videos. And then COVID hits, right? Changed my studio into a webcast studio so that I could shoot me playing songs that maybe a lot of the world hadn't heard yet. Right out of my studio. I got some curtains at Joann's. I got some cheap lights on Sweetwater. I got a really good iPhone with the 3 lenses and a tripod and filmed myself in my webcast studio. And because I've been on the online digital world for so long, I just, boom, dropped it into all my video channels, Vimeo, leehowardsmusicaluniverse.net, my YouTube channel, Lee Howard's Musical Universe, my Spotify channel, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Yeah, it is all out there. I'm not some older person who doesn't know how to do all this. I helped create social media. I was there at the beginning, serving my community, serving the world, raising good children, trying to change the culture of monsterism, to raise cultivated people who know about food and music and love and don't mind dancing in the rain and getting wet. My daughter was raised on a farm, so she would learn how to take care of animals and learn empathy first. Sometimes these podcasts just decipher, unravel, figure out what went on, what took place, who was I as a person, what choices did I make. My life has been about silver linings. Hey, join me on my podcast 6, season 1. Next time I'm gonna head to Austin and do a live podcast. I'm on the lookout for really great seltzer waters, great food, great restaurants. I'm also going to interview the famous Karenina Lee. She is such a mystery. She only gives you a certain amount of time. You got to drop this note in her mailbox to get a hold of her. She doesn't have any social media. But she is fantastic. I have been following her for years. Karenina Lee, I'm going to meet up with her in Austin. She gave me a 3-hour window. So yeah, join me again and again. Thank you for listening. And I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for joining me. Lee Howard's Health